Hey guys, what's up? Today we are going to talk about these two knives and some subsequent knives from Downing Fabrication. All right, there is a similarity there between my name and that business. We'll talk about that real quick, but let's talk about these knives and get into it. Okay, so first off, this is a little bit different. Downing Fabrication is not my business. It's my brother's business. All right, and this knife actually carries my logo. He does the laser engraving on these. He doesn't fabricate the knives, but he does laser engraving on these. And so because of that familial relationship that we have there, this is more or less an overview. I'm not going to try to sell you this like I might would some other brands I have no affiliation with. You know, maybe they've sent me stuff and things, but I don't have family ties to these other businesses. This business I do. So to keep things above board, I'm just going to talk about these and give my personal experience. You take what I say with a grain of salt. It's really no different than any other affiliate thing that I've ever done, but I just want to put that out there so you know where we're coming from, all right? So these knives, if you look at them, they are strikingly similar. I mean, very similar to some other knives that we've recently done and given away on this channel. And so far, these have held up pretty much the exact same way. Now, granted, I've only had these knives for, what, about a month, 2 months, something like that. And other knives that are very strikingly similar, I've had for years. So there's no way for me to tell track record one way or other. Time has to play its role on these things to see how well they hold up over time. What I will say, sorry, I got a little bit of a cold thing going on. What I will say is these have a coating very similar to the coating of that other brand a long time ago when I first got it, that they don't offer that brand, that coating anymore. It's kind of like a rubbery plastic feel. It's kind of grippy and rubbery-ish. It will wear off, as you can see here. This is the one that I have that has my logo thing on it, right there. It will wear off on different points, especially if you use your knife like a tool. And that's how my brother envisions these things being used for, all right? They're way less. They're at least half, if not a quarter of the cost of a lot of the other knives like this out there, the out the front knives. You got the little button, you know, push it forward, comes out, pull it back, comes back. It's, yeah, like I said, it's at least half, if not a quarter of the cost of some of these other knives out there. And the thing is my brother is not selling these as world-class knives. He's not. He's not expecting these things to be heirloom pieces necessarily. He's expecting people to use these knives, right? To use them probably for things that they maybe not intended to be used for, like screwdrivers, right? We have screwdrivers and we're supposed to use those, but a lot of times we'll open a paint can or a jar or something or stab our way through, you know, some kind of a can of something, that these are not made to do that. They're not pry tools. Knives are supposed to cut. Well, my brother envisions these things as being, everybody uses their knives for things like that, but they wouldn't use their expensive knives. This is a working knife. Try to beat that horse to death as much as I can here and hopefully not have to trail onto that later. But that is the purpose of these knives. I like to talk about keeping things in their wheelhouse, having a purpose for something. That's where these guys live. And as such, since they don't cost an arm and a leg, if you lose it, right, then you're not crying and bemoaning the fact that you lost $150, $200, $300 knife. No, you lost a knife that, yeah, it sucks, but you can go get another one, and it's not going to break the bank, basically, all right? That's, again, where my brother envisions this stuff. So my brother, he does not make these knives, right? He doesn't make these. What he does is he buys these kind of in bulk, as it were, and then he engraves them. So like I showed 3 times already, I'll show it again. This one has my logo on it that's available on his website, and then he also has a whole bunch of other engravings that he can do on the blades, and I believe he does offerings for engraving on the handle. It depends. He can do some custom stuff sometimes. It just depends on what exactly you want custom on there. You'd have to reach out to him specifically to see that. But yeah, there are options to have things engraved and stuff on here, which is pretty cool. And so far, they've held up. I've honestly been surprised. I used one of these as basically a splitter for wood. I mean, I beat on it to split wood, and then just everyday stuff. And they're holding up well. I would have thought that the black would have worn off on these things, but it hadn't. Something to note real quick. I'll tell you what these things are made out of. I'll try to throw it up on the screen here, kind of like we standardized do. But let's talk about the specs and stuff. We should have done that at the beginning. But the specs, we have blade length of 3.6 inches, the overall length of 8.7 inches, the blade width of 0.74 inches. Blade material, this is probably what most people are interested in, is 3CR13 stainless steel. Handle is made out of a zinc alloy, and the weight is 8 ounces. So it is a stainless steel blade, all right? And this is something my brother does know. This is not the highest quality steel. He's looking into getting other blades that he can replace and put into these handles, like tool blades and all kinds of other stuff. But right now, this is what they have. This is what they're selling, all right? But as such, I haven't had a problem with these things losing their edge, really. I mean, yes, I abuse these, and they continue to cut and do what they need to do, right? They're not getting massive chips and bending the blades. I mean, you can see the blade on there. Like I say here, you can stab it, knock over my guns and stuff, and there you go. The blade's not bent. Sorry, you can't even see that. The blade's not bent, it's not deformed, it's not doing weird stuff. It's acting like a regular knife blade would act. Talk about their warranty real quick, and then we'll be done. My understanding of how their warranty works, he calls it a lifetime warranty, to where if you break it, they're gonna fix it. Okay, if you abuse the system and they send it to you and you sit there and you saw it in half, okay, well, you intentionally destroyed it. That's I don't think that's really even covered. But if you intentionally break stuff, after a certain amount of time, you're gonna have, I think it's like $10 or something like that, to replace the blade, or to replace, you know, the parts kits or something like that. It's something like that. But if you have your knife and you're using it like a normal person would, or you bust the blade because you're using it to open a paint can, first time you get to send it into them for free. They'll replace it. They'll replace or fix it, depending on, you know, which piece or part's broken. But then after that, my understanding of it, that's when, you know, you pay $10 and then they'll fix it basically for forever, right? That's my understanding of it. You can go watch his video on it. He explains it a little bit better than I do. But yeah, so case in point, when he had me testing these for him, I was cutting up cardboard boxes because I thought this would be a great way to test, you know, the blade, because cardboard paper, that will dull a blade really quick. And so I was slicing up boxes and stuff. I had a big old trash can burning stuff in, and my knife fell into the fire. And my first intention was, or instinction, or whatever it was, I immediately went to go grab the knife, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm not grabbing a knife. This is like, I had poured used cooking oil and stuff in the fire to get it going. This is a hot fire. I'm not putting my hand in there. And then I was like, aha, I'm just going to let this run out as a test and see what happens. Well, the next day I went out and I go to check, and sure enough, the zinc alloy, part of it's, oh, here it is. The zinc alloy had melted from the handle. The handle basically feels hollow. This is most of the metal from the handle. The blade is still sharp. You'd still slice yourself on this thing. The blade is still sharp, and I asked my brother about it, and he told me about it. Like, if this is something that actually happened to an actual paying customer, they could send this in. You'd have to be very careful how you send this thing in. You gotta wrap it up real good. That's an exposed blade. But you send this in, and they're gonna replace it. At least the first time they're gonna replace it. If you keep doing stuff like this, then that's where he's saying this. I think that's what he's saying. $10 every time after that you intentionally destroy something, or you bust something, break it, whatever. That's $10, right? Now, if you lose it, that's on you. That's something he made pretty clear in his deal. He's not paying for your negligence as far as losing the knives. That's totally on you. Breaking it when you're using it, that's totally different. So anyway, guys, that's a little look at these out the front knives. Extremely similar. Almost everything that I've said about other companies that have knives that look exactly like this pretty much holds same true to what I'm saying about these knives. I have not had these things fail on me yet. They still go in and out nice and easy. It's interesting. It is very interesting. If you get one of these and you think it's really hard to open, like if I let my wife open this, or hand her my knife so she can use it and she tries to open it, people act like it's so hard to push it and open it. I think it's a mental thing, and I think it's the same with a lot of other knives. It's just once you realize that you just hold this little lever back and you push it forward, it's not that hard. I don't know. Some people have trouble with it. I haven't had trouble with it at all. I think these are very easy to sit there all day and do this thing. It just doesn't make any difference to me. Anyway, guys, that is the Out the Front Knives by Downing Fabrication. If you want to look up my specific knife, I should have a link down below. We talked about the SKU name, right? The numeric name for the knife, because the initials Downing Industries knife, I think it's 01. That's the SKU. Is that right? Yeah, yeah. Well, that spells something. And I was like, you know what? Let's just leave it in there. We'll leave it in there. Maybe people think it's funny. Maybe they'll buy it. So if you look up my knife, it might sound a little weird if you read the SKU. But that's what it is. That's it. If you got any questions, let me know. Y'all be good to be safe. Appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, and everything. And hopefully, we'll catch you in the next video. See ya.